When do you know that is a fake out, breakout, or real? I think it comes down to like understanding what part of the cycle you're in, right? Because if you can understand what part of the cycle you're in, you can know what to look for. So like for instance, like you have range, continuation, and liquidity, right? Usually after a push, you would range. After a range, you'll need liquidity, right? Because that liquidity will confirm, aka bottom wick, if you're gonna continue driving up to drive in that direction, or if you're in reverse, right? So it comes down to just what price taps first. So whenever it's in a range, you don't want to be looking for trades. You want to be waiting to see what price taps first. That's what we're doing right now, right? Because look, we're currently, you had this right here. So for instance, you had like this push right here, that pushed up, which is the continuation, right? And then you had a range, resistance formed, support formed. Why is it ranging? Because at some point price must slow down, right? So in this case, it's slowing down. So now this is why we're waiting. There's nothing we can really do. We don't gotta predict and guess where price is going. We don't gotta say it's gonna go up from here, it's gonna go down from here, right? We can simply just wait. So how are we gonna wait? If overall we're still bullish, the ideal is almost sneeze. The idea is like you would print a bomb before ripping up, right? So the idea is like you would be able to come up like this after a bottom wick. So if you got that, that's your liquidity for you to rip up, right? You can take the flip afterwards, and then take it up towards the top of the range. Or two, what price can also do is price can also do something like this as well, where it comes up, grabs a tall wick, and then continues to drive down. If that's the case, then great. You can look for sells below like 2030, 2028, once you close below after a top wick, right? So that's what you want to wait for. And that's why I said today, like, preferably, I would like to see the breakup below 2030 before ripping up, just to confirm that that's the bottom wick. Because you break that low and you flip bullish, there's no reason to do so aside from the fact that you're going to flip up and drive up towards the top of the range. And that should give you direction to fill the range at least. And if it happens to run into runs, great, amazing. You have nice runners, right? But the idea is that you're going to fill the range after you flip. So that's how I'll go about things. And that's when you can figure out what's a fake out, what's not, by understanding what part of the cycle you're in, right? Like for instance, if we're bullish right now and you're coming down like this can easily be a fake out. Why? A couple of things here that's showing that. One, you have no top wick. Two, you have no bottom wick on the 4-hour candle. And the daily has, sorry, the 4 candle never broke the previous day low yet, right? Which is 2029. But if you break that low and you flip, there's a saying that, okay, cool, price broke the lows, there's no reason to break the lows and then flip bullish, aside from the fact that you got a clean range going up, right? So then you can just anticipate the buys afterwards and you don't gotta take the sells. You can take sells still, like it can still come down without a top wick, right? Don't get me wrong, it can still do this, but like you then want to drop down to a small time frame. So like, what do you have on a small time from here? Going back to what we have earlier, you have a level at 2030, you have another level down here at 2022. What I'll do probably is that the general idea is, cool, you close below 2022, you're good to drive down towards 2016. However, if you want sells below 2030, it's going to be a little tough to take sells once you close below like this. What you'll like to see is a top wick. So if you can get a top wick after closing below, amazing, that's your move down. Or two, what else can happen is you can form a range 2. So that's going to be a closure respecting resistance, and then a closure below there. And then once that candle closes, you can say, okay, cool, that should be the top wick, and you should be able to drive down now towards the bottom of the range, right? But there's ways to adapt and there's ways to go around it, about it. But that's what I'll do if I'm looking for sells. And that's what I'll need to form. Does that make sense? So just understanding what part of the cycle you're in right now. That's really all that it is. And that's how you could avoid that. It took us a long time to get there though. Like it took us a very long time. Like we used to be caught in fake outs all the time. And then one of my mentors at the time, or one of the people I was watching on like one of the courses I was watching, was saying like, you can't avoid fake outs. I'm like, really? And I know we can't avoid fake outs completely, but there's definitely a way for you to increase the chances of you avoiding fake outs, right? There's always a way for you to increase the chances of you avoiding whatever. So that's what we did. We spent some time figuring out how we're going to do that. And it's just it's just solely based off of structure, right? Which is just the range 1 to range 2 stuff, which is just structure being printed, right? Like for instance, like when you're like this, right? You're bullish, right? All of a sudden, if you print a higher low and you're breaking below the previous kind of higher low, you're breaking what? you're doing this, right? Therefore, you're now breaking into this range here. So this is like your range 1 up here, and this is your range 2, and this is your range 2 breakout. Anything below here is good for you to drop down towards the bottom of the range, right? And that's all that really is. It's just structure based off of candles. We just combine the two, right? So like if you were to, for instance, like look at the 4-hour candle. What do you have so far? You have this movement like this, right? You're still bullish. This can be a higher low. You can still easily just do this, but if you break below these lows here, then you're gonna be breaking below like this. Therefore, at some point, you're gonna put the top wick. If you get the top wick and you close back below here, then you're gonna drop down towards the bottom of the range, and then that'll be the move that you can probably grab as well. Make sense? The more like you're on price action, the more you view the same cycles each and every day, the more you're gonna realize that it's all the same thing. Like range 1, range 2, market structure, liquidity, it's all the same things being printed, just in a different formation off a different time frame. And that's when it'll become